don't give up until she says, "Oh my god, I can't take it no more."
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was a Ric Flair promo. Yeah, so what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're back again with another video. And that just happened.
We are the nation of masturbation.
Stop!
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Why? Why?
It just came in my head.
We are the nation of doing nation.
Okay. Yeah, so this video, after this video is done, the vibe will probably change, but we'll try to make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here tonight to basically talk about the Dark Side of the Ring, featuring Chris Benoit.
Oh, was this part 2?
Are we talking about all the parts?
Yeah, we're talking about all the parts.
Okay.
So pretty much Dark Side of the Ring. We're talking about the Chris Benoit and just the announcement. The season finale for that Dark Side of the Ring is going to be Owen Hart. Just to let everybody know.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that one out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's going to be the season finale. But we're going to be talking about Chris Benoit for this one.
Okay.
So I'm not going to go through every single thing. There might be some things that I might forget.
Okay.
But if there's anybody who wants to add a few things that I forget to talk about, you guys can go ahead and do that.
All right.
So pretty much how it all started with David, and sitting down, they asked him, "Hey, you ready?" And I'm like, "Yep." Let's get started. I mean, yeah. So my father was Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Your dad was Chris?
Yeah. So he won't win.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
I love that song.
I don't give a shit.
What song are you talking about?
Papa was a Rolling Stone by the Temptations.
Papa was a Rolling Smart.
You really love that word.
So do you?
I mean, you really love Roman Reigns.
No, the hell I don't. Don't you dare do that to me.
Will you stop denying your damn feelings already? Come on, man. Denial is grief. It's really bad, Once you release the happiness in you, you will feel free, my child. Free.
So will you admit that you like
a lot
John
of heroin.
So will you finally admit you like John Cena?
It's okay to cry, Jalen. Crying lets the sadness out of you.
Will you finally admit that you like Matt Riddle?
Oh,
yeah, I don't mind Matt Riddle.
Right. Father, I like to play darts with his head.
Would you finally admit that Sting was never drawn to CW?
That would be the dumbest lie I've ever heard in my life.
All right. So we're basically with this whole Dark Side of the Ring featuring Chris Benoit. And Owen Hart being the season finale. Yeah. So I mean, it all starts out with basically David, sitting down, like, hey, let's talk about it.
David looks exactly like his dad, man.
He's a spitting image of his dad. Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, so I mean, basically how it all starts, with his early life, he grew up watching, Dynamite Kid was his favorite wrestler at the time, and he saw him wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty much one of the wrestlers that he wanted to be like,
Right.
And then he met Eddie Guerrero. They they were in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, Chris Benoit was the Wild Pegasus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Chris Jericho, he wanted to be like both Benoit and Eddie, which I can't blame him. Two of the greatest
Oh, yeah.
ever.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Definitely.
But yeah, I like how they like Vicky was talking and she basically was like, oh, Eddie would talk to me and say like, oh, I hate this asshole, like he's a dick or something like that, like how they first met, because
wow.
they had matches together and it's like, man, I don't want to work with him and this, that, and the other. But then of course as time goes on, they both ended up bonding and they became best of friends. They wrestled in New Japan. They were in WCW.
That guy's dick.
And then of course WWE. They wrestled. In WWF/E.
Right.
Their friendship just grew and grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
And also what it pertains to Nancy. First, getting with Kevin Sullivan. They were actually a thing at the time. And basically, Kevin was abusive. And for those of you who don't know, Nancy actually left Kevin for Chris.
Oh yeah, like it was a storyline, and then they really got together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
Which he booked, by the way.
Yeah.
So how crazy that Kevin Sullivan, he booked Benoit and Nancy to beat Zeke for her to cheat on him, storyline wise, and then he ended up being a real thing.
Yep.
So Kevin, yeah.
I mean, if he was really abusive, then I can't really blame Nancy.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it went to bite him in the ass. Once she ended up getting with Chris. Because she he took care of her. Whenever she was getting abused, and they actually had a match. And then they talked about how they actually had a match against each other, Chris and Kevin, and they actually laid it in during one of their matches. They were actually giving each other blows, and then they fought backstage. What the fuck? This, that, and the other. It became personal.
Damn.
Yeah. So then, like I said already, Chris Benoit grew a relationship with Nancy, grew a relationship with Chris, as well as everybody else, of course. Jericho, Chavo, Angle, everybody else. Even though they weren't mentioned, but people that he actually got along with. And also, he talked about how Chris wasn't really a religious person, but Eddie was, of course. With the Bible, and pretty much Eddie, he got to Chris, to get into the religious stuff, and actually gave him a Bible, which meant a lot to Eddie. So then, Eddie, he took drugs, and he actually got fired from the company. And then, of course, he, cleaned himself up. He came back in 2002. He had his little run, just like Chris did, when he came back from his injury. Let's see. And then WrestleMania 20. Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, that's when they both became champions. Eddie Guerrero beat Kurt Angle for the WWE title. Oh, he was already the champion, but he retained the title at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And Chris.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite matches from Eddie Guerrero. The WrestleMania 21.
Yeah.
Not 21, but
20, yeah.
25. Yeah.
That was a great moment.
hmm
And Chris Benoit made Triple H tap out. He beat both Triple H and Shawn Michaels
hmm
and became the World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, dude, JR's commentary in that match, like when it ended, bruh, phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like he never gave up. He never gave up, and now he is the world. He's the heavyweight champion of this world.
Yep, it took.
was,
Yep.
yeah, it was just really, you could just hear the passion in JR. You know, you could just hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, him
Great
saying,
moment.
yep, it took 16 years to finally become the World Heavyweight Champion, and now I'm the World Champion.
Yep. And when Eddie came out to hug Chris Benoit, and they held their titles high, that was like a really special moment.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
One of the best moments of WrestleMania.
yeah, one of my favorite moments. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and yeah, of course, how it ended with Eddie and Benoit with both the titles, after their hard work of, finally having their moment in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And of course, Chris's family was there.
Right.
And then the kid came out. Chris Benoit gave him a kiss and hug, and
Yeah, really special moment there.
and just looking back at it now, unfortunately, it's been erased from the books because obviously what happened.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Let's see. So then they moved on to Eddie Guerrero passing. So
Yeah. This was the saddest part of the show.
Mm.
hmm When Chavo Guerrero told his story, like I think they were in a hotel or something, right?
Yeah, they were in Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was trying to call Eddie, and there was no answer, so he went up to check on him.
Yep,
And
Eddie died in my state.
yeah,
I live in right now.
Oh, and also another thing when it pertains to that. So what was it? Chavo was pretty much saying how Eddie would have conversations with people, and then all of a sudden he would just black out, like pass out during mid sentence.
Mm.
But Chavo didn't think anything of it. Which I mean, if that was my uncle, like I'd be like, why is he passing out every time I try to talk to him?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not in the shoes, but that's what I would be thinking. I
I'll
would.
be thinking like if it
Yeah,
like
I'd
I'll be
more
thinking
concerned.
I'll be thinking of something like take him to the doctor if it's really bad.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be more concerned about it.
And then of course that night, that morning, 5:30 in the morning, Chavo, wakes up. Oh, you got a phone call. Your uncle is not answering his wake up call, and then Chavo went to him, and then he saw him in the bathroom, um, in his underwear with his toothbrush in his hand. So basically, he was brushing his teeth, and all of a sudden he just. Well, before he went out, Chavo had him in his arms. Basically,
That was that's part. Like he literally died in his arms.
That was hard to hear, that part.
Yeah, dude, I literally paused for a moment to like hold on. Like, yeah, and then I went back, and it was just wow. that was just really hard, and especially when it gets to the part where like he told, I think Chavo told uh Chris Benoit, and he said that Chris Benoit just basically screamed. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was really tough.
Yeah, basically, yeah, he described it as a whale scream.
Right.
So then, of course, the tribute show, which it feels like it was just yesterday. It was only like 15 years ago that it happened. Yeah, how time goes by fast.
Yeah.
Uh, so then they talked about basically Chris Benoit,
Hmm.
and of course I've talked about this off air. How I couldn't go back to look at that part where Chris Benoit talks about Eddie expressing his love for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just hard to hear right there.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then of course they showed it.
Yeah.
They didn't show the whole thing of it, but they showed him crying, that part, and then you hear the crowd clapping for his emotions and stuff, cheering Chris on, when he's speaking to the art.
Right. Rightfully so, man.
So then Vicky would talk about how Nancy, how Vicky would be in the bed, like she wouldn't want to get up, like she would just be in the bed, and Nancy will try to give Vicky like Vicky, you have kids who love you, who are still here, you need to get up, you need to do this,
Yeah.
take care of the kids, and then put Vicky in the shower and freshen herself off and get ready for lunch. So basically, Nancy, Vicky, and everybody, the kids, went out for lunch. Because that's how much Nancy cared for Vicky after her loss to her husband dying.
Right.
So then they talked about how Chris would visit, and this got me like a
Yeah,
little
very good, man.
a little creeped out, but at the same time, like feel his emotion too.
Yeah, I remember that.
Basically saying that Chris went to Eddie's bedroom and he would actually lie down on the bed and actually cuddle to the pillow crying.
Yeah, that was really sad, man. Hearing that.
Like Eddie's death on Chris had a big toll on him. Like
Yeah.
definitely.
Like just imagine seeing Chris lying on his bed with the pillow and just crying his eyes out.
I mean, I'd be a little weirded out, but at the same time, yeah, I remember he lost like a brother to him, so
Oh yeah.
He basically lost his brother when that happened.
Yeah.
What was the what else? What else did he talk about? What was next?
Oh, and Jericho talked about how at the Eddie Guerrero funeral, about how he saw Chris Benoit, and he gave him, he basically described it as I'm holding on to my life type of hug. Like he was about to die right there. Like, oh man, I can't, go away. That type of hug towards Jericho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, Chris Benoit's tears were pretty much fucking up Jericho's suit. Like it started like tears all over his shoulder.
Yeah. Hmm.
Damn.
So,
Damn, man. That's sad to hear right there. Like really sad.
Yeah. And
Like
yeah. I think they mentioned like where Chris Benoit didn't take weeks off or months off. He still continued wrestling.
yeah,
Um. Yeah. At that part, like when I heard that, it's like he shouldn't have done that. He should have took at least like a month off.
yeah, and basically, Nancy's sister, I think, was the one who said this. Basically saying how Nancy would tell Chris, "Hey, you know, you need to get out of wrestling, and pretty much freshen yourself up from the wrestling stuff because it's pretty much killing you."
True. Yeah. He should have.
yeah,
He should have done that.
And then on top of that, like the stuff that he would take, towards his body and all that, and the bumps, like,
Yeah.
and then after losing somebody that close to you, I mean, I don't know how anybody would,
Yeah. Chair shots to the head. The bumps, all that.
Oh yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. If that was me in that situation, I'd probably take like at least a month off. Just have time to grieve, and I'll be back in my A game.
yeah,
yeah, and I would say be with his family, but after of course, that whole, which speaking of that, they also talked about how Chris and Nancy would have fights.
Right. Yeah. I heard about that. Hmm.
And there was one story that they basically said how they had some kind of fight, and Chris ended up fucking up the windshield of one of their cars. I forgot which car it was, but basically, smashed it.
Oh.
And it was even to the point where it was actually a restraining order towards Chris.
Wow.
god damn.
It was that serious between the two. Like that's how much problems there was in the household.
Jesus Christ.
Now I don't know if even this was during or like even when Eddie was alive, or it was still going down even when he was alive, or even when he wasn't alive.
Mm.
I forgot how exactly it was probably after Eddie's passing.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Because when you hear everybody, they talk about how Chris, he loved his family, and you even saw like those little video clips, Chris and Nancy in the bedroom, Chris with Daniel and with David.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, another touching thing when it pertains to that was when how David said that Daniel, either it was Daniel or David, one of them said that one day they want to be world tag team champions together.
Oh.
Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah, and then they showed the clip of David and Daniel, play fighting while watching Chris on the TV. I think it was WrestleMania 17.
well,
And Chris was actually on the TV while they were play fighting, which was also a touching thing.
man.
So where was I? So yeah, and then they get to basically the incident.
Oh, that fateful night.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said already, they've had problems.
Leading up to it.
Yeah, leading up to it. And then Chris, he just had enough with everything in life. So I forgot exactly how Chris killed Nancy. Jalen, do you remember exactly how?
I think I remember. I think he grabbed like a telephone cord and he choked her with it, and then with his knee he broke her back. And
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the breaking back part. I forgot exactly what else.
But
Yeah.
I think she was choked to death.
Okay.
And for his son, I forgot what happened.
Well, for his son, he gave him Xanax, which, wow, that's fucked up
Really fucked up.
in itself, and pretty much smothered him to death. And while he was still alive, supposedly, there was actual thing where he might have been thinking of actually going back to work and actually, wrestling and traveling to the next event. Which, dude, just imagine after killing your family, going back on the road after what you did.
Just imagine if he really did do that. He's on Raw and you get people cheer for him, but they didn't realize he was a family.
So then I think Chavo would basically talk about how the canines, or was it the canine or was it shepherd dogs? Two dogs were basically outside, something to that effect. And then 30 seconds later, he got a text from Nancy's phone of the same exact text. And Chavo was like, "What the fuck? This is weird as shit." And then somewhere in there, Chris said to Chavo that I love you. And then basically Chavo was like, okay, I love you too, man. And Chavo just thought this is weird.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Yeah, is there anything I'm missing pertaining to Chavo or anything else before he killed himself?
No, I don't think there was anything else left.
All right, so pretty much after that, after what he did to his son and to Nancy, he ended up going to the gym and pretty much hanged himself with with a towel and some rope and a bunch of weights. And also he had a Bible next to Nancy, and he actually had a Bible next to Daniel, which basically was it was a verse about the resurrection of the little boy, Old Testament.
Right.
And
Right.
basically he found, and then what the detectives found was basically the rules and some looking up some internet stuff of how to basically kill himself.
Well, that's some scary shit right there.
Yeah, like the quickest way to break your neck.
that's some that's some creepy stuff. Man.
And then to basically, confirm everything and pretty much validate their case, the suicide note. So there was a suicide note basically saying that basically I'm leaving this earth.
God damn.
Yep. So, and then WWE were aware of this. Well, not aware of the killings.
At the time.
Yeah, at the time. But they were aware that they were all dead. Chavo didn't know. And also they were trying to call Chris, even people in the company. But of course, Chris wasn't answering anything. No calls, no text messages back, no nothing. What else? Yeah, so basically, of course, WWE or Vince McMahon had a meeting with the roster, with some of them, and to basically announce that Chris, Nancy, and Daniel are all dead. And the room was very quiet until Vicky, screamed out of nowhere, and they had to take her to the back. And Chavo asked Vince, "Oh, what happened? I want to know," And then basically they didn't have a clue yet, of course, and pretty much Vince hugged Chavo.
Yeah.
So then, of course, that one Raw episode with nobody in the crowd, and they pretty much just showed Chris Benoit, video packages and tributes and matches. Vince McMahon's, making that announcement saying, "I hate to inform you guys, but Chris, Nancy, and Daniel have passed away. Basically, we don't know how exactly, but we're going to pay tribute because we don't know exactly what happened." And of course, everybody spoke out. Stone Cold, CM Punk, Edge, Dean Malenko. Everybody who spoke out that night about Triple H. Everybody spoke out. John Cena. And then come to find out that then they ended up finding out what actually did happen.
That he murdered his whole family and killed himself.
Yep. And they pretty much, announced, Vince pretty much announced that, there would be no more mention of Chris Benoit. So they basically just erase him from WWE and pretend that he never happened.
Yep, and to this day, they not one mention of Chris Benoit on their
Nope.
Raw, SmackDown, or any pay-per-views. None. No mentions of Chris ever since then.
Nope. Even W Network, like when you look for like the triple threat match in WrestleMania, it literally just says triple threat match for Heavyweight Championship. Doesn't say Chris Benoit's name. None. You could look up Chris, once you type Chris Benoit, then it's gonna be like error 404 or something. Like doesn't exist.
I'm surprised that they still kept him, on the network, like in the actual matches. So
I'm actually surprised with that too, but
Jalen, I think you got a bunch of background noise.
yeah.
I do.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Oh my bad.
Sounds like you're running with your phone or something.
Yeah.
I'm not moving. I'm gonna fix my mic. Hold on.
Are you outside?
No, I'm in my house. Let me fix the mic.
Yeah, it sounds like wind or some kind of background noise. So yeah, and then pretty much David and Nancy's sister never connected since then, or at the time, after they all passed away, because some little birdie made a thing where they said that Nancy's sister wanted nothing to do with David, and pretty much Nancy's sister was like that. It was complete utter shit. That was bullshit. And Daniel, well, the people that were interviewing him, they asked him, "Was there anybody who reached out to you after they passed away?" And he said, "Two people reached out to me. One was Chavo Guerrero, and the other one was Chris Jericho."
Wow.
And WWE, the company, nobody reached out to me, nor want anything to do with me.
Because of what Chris Benoit did.
Yep.
That's just stupid that they're punishing his son who didn't do anything just because of his father's actions.
Fuck that company, bro. Fuck that company.
But yeah, so Chris Jericho pretty much said, I wanted both David and Sandra to basically reunite. And Chris Jericho, being the stand-up guy that he is, was able to get that accomplished. And Sandra and Daniel, or not Daniel, but David, ended up reuniting, and live happily ever after to a certain degree. And of course, now David, he wants to be a pro wrestler, live up to Chris's name, even though Chris, despite what he did, he still wants to wrestle like him and have the same wrestling style, and you kind of dress the same. Because in a way, he kind of still looks up to Chris even after what he did. Because of course, he's his father. So I mean,
yeah,
it's like, and David pretty much was on there, pretty much saying, I had people, talk shit behind my back, and basically, I mean, it's unfair, man. Like, how are you gonna talk about one member of the family that didn't do anything wrong?
Yeah.
Like, and then for WWE to just want nothing to do with him, like, fuck off.
yeah, fuck all the way off.
Okay, guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No background noise.
Nope.
Okay, good. Yeah, so let me talk about what David said. Basically, WWE not want to deal with him. Yeah, that is the most fucked up thing they could ever do. I can understand, erasing Chris Benoit. I can understand that, but you not trying to help out his son after what just happened? Screw you.
Yeah,
And-
fuck you.
And the dude was like 14 at the time, I think, right? He was 14 years old.
Yeah, I think he said he was like 14, like he was a teenager. And they did nothing to help him. The only ones that talked to him was Chris Jericho and Chavo Guerrero, and that was really it. No one else. And that's just really messed up, man. They should have helped him out. They should have, they should have done something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that company, supposedly loved Chris Benoit. They loved him.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly. I mean, even after what he did, like people still remember Chris Benoit to this day, But yeah, man, Chris Jericho ended up being the angel and reunited them. Reunited, parts of the family that weren't talking.
God bless Chris Jericho, man.
Yeah.
Like for real. God bless him.
Because that's how much Chris Jericho loved Chris and how he loves his family.
Yeah. So,
Even
yeah.
after what he did.
Yeah, so God bless him, man.
Especially
That was a really great thing to do.
especially still being there for his son even to this day.
Yep. And, I heard, David Benoit wants to be a wrestler. And, he wants to have, his dad's style, wear the same thing his dad wore. And you know what? And that's what he wants. I humbly support him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
I just know he's never gonna be in WWE. Definitely not.
if he ever becomes a wrestler, I think AEW do good wonders for him.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially since he actually was in the crowd. In
If
Double or Nothing.
if AEW signs him, people are gonna talk shit. But hey, fuck him.
Yeah, you know what? Okay,
Yeah,
for that, you can talk about vanilla midgets all you want, but for that, was David Benoit, fuck you.
Yeah.
He AEW has to freaking set up a murderer. Shut
Yes,
up.
son of.
If they say that, well, that's going to be a full-on rant on my end.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely gonna be a rant.
Yeah, and like Jordan says, keywords: son of a murderer, not
He didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He should not suffer the sins of the father. I don't know how it goes, but
the sins of the father, should not
Yeah.
be the sins of the son. Yeah.
Yeah. He shouldn't have to deal with that. He shouldn't got bullied for that. He shouldn't have got all the crap for it. He did not deserve that.
Because he didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, us being fans of Chris Benoit, which we all enjoyed Chris Benoit as when he was wrestling at the time, when he was still alive.
Definitely.
Chris Benoit, when I was growing up, he was one of my favorite wrestlers. But I'll get more into that when pertains after we're done with this segment. But yeah, I mean, we're all fans. We were fans of Chris Benoit. But the ones who truly felt the pain of the loss were the people in that documentary.
Definitely.
Because they knew him personally and the family personally.
Yeah, I remember when David was crying and I think Chavo came in to hug him. Yeah, that was another pause moment for me.
Oh yeah. When Daniel, where he started crying, and then Nancy's sister and Chavo went to hug him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just really sad, man. And like I said, the fact that WWE did not do anything to help him out, that's really screwed up, man. He was only a kid.
He had nothing to do with that shit.
He had nothing to do with it. And they didn't do nothing. So that's why I say God bless Chris Jericho and Chavo. For talking to him. For being there for him. So, I thank those guys. Yeah. But for WWE to, make the wrestlers, not mention to not mention Chris Benoit's fine, but to not, maybe contact David, try to help him out, that's really messed up.
It is.
Yeah, so for any fan, or maybe even wrestler, I doubt it, but for anybody, um, that will ridicule because there's always negative people no matter where it is. You know, whether it pertains to sports, whether it pertains to movies, whether it pertains to actors, whatever the case may be, wrestlers, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But I'm just saying, for anybody that's gonna go and criticize David Benoit, aside from his wrestling, aside from the matches or promos he does, unless you're gonna critique him on that and criticize him for that, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. But I guarantee you, most likely it's not gonna be the wrestling, the promos, or anything like that. It's gonna be mostly about Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear that a lot. Wherever he goes, whether it's New Japan or AEW, wherever, you're gonna hear people talking about, oh, they have the son of a murderer in such and such company. You're gonna hear it.
Well, I mean, they need to get over it because
Exactly.
David didn't do shit.
Yes.
He didn't do shit except be born from him,
Yes.
which nobody can control. So
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
yeah, you know that's like being born and be raised, from a drug addicted father and a weed smoking mother. Like there's nothing you can do about it. You're born with it. You didn't choose it. You didn't choose it. You didn't just like David didn't choose for his father to do what he did to his kid and his wife.
Yeah.
So anybody who's gonna talk shit, fuck you. That's simple.
Where's the siren come from?
Holla if you hear me.
Yeah, that's from my end. How funny I said fuck you, and then all of a sudden, anyway. But yeah, when it pertains to Chris Benoit, well, before I get to that, there's a comment that I saw. You guys saw it already, but I want to read it for you guys. It was while I was watching the video. Let me just find it. Okay, here we go. I'm not gonna say the name of this person because I don't want to expose anybody. But this was, I believe, at the part 2 video that I saw. So all the Chris Benoit memes that I see on the internet and laughing hysterically at them all the time, now looking at Benoit's son, I feel like an asshole and probably can't laugh at them anymore. Well, to that person, why are you laughing at those memes in the first place?
Exactly.
Like, I never laugh at the memes when it says, oh, Chris Benoit for Hall of Fame. Like, I don't even find it funny.
Yeah, I never found that funny. For me, like, whenever I saw this, like, I wish he could be in the Hall of Fame. But what happened? He can't. I don't laugh at that.
Yeah, I don't. It's not funny. At least I don't think it's funny.
I don't think it's funny either.
Like, people can think what they want, but in my opinion, I still be like, fuck you, because
Yeah.
for you to even laugh at it, period, you could go fuck yourself.
Yeah, look, I like, dark humor. That's one of my favorite type of comedies, but stuff like that, it's just like,
Yeah, no.
I can't laugh at that.
Yeah, when it involves a murder.
Yeah.
No.
Especially when it really happened,
Mm-hmm.
I can't joke about that. Yeah.
The only joking that I've ever did when it came to Chris Benoit was play his theme song. that's the only thing I've done when it pertains to humor. Like there was one video, I forgot which video it was, but all of a sudden, like I just randomly played Chris Benoit's theme song, and the asylum were like, "What the fuck?" Chris Benoit.
That's not really. Yeah, that's not harmless. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not harmful. Yeah.
Like that's the only humorous thing I've done when it pertains to Chris Benoit.
Right.
But this whole let's talk about how we kill somebody, like that's not funny.
Yeah, that's not funny because it really happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before we go, I mean, what do you guys, your guys' thoughts when it pertains to pretty much, I guess just the whole thing of it. I mean, of
mean,
the outcome of it.
It was pretty sad and pretty hard to listen to. I mean, in some instincts, but the way it was done, I would say I'll give it an A plus. I thought it was done very well when it comes to the documentary itself.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, it took it seriously. Like it didn't like joke around or anything like that. Like it took it seriously.
Yeah, and they didn't hold anything back.
And they weren't biased. Like they were actually neutral when it came to them,
Yeah.
personal opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did kind of chuckle when Vicky Guerrero was basically talking about Eddie saying, basically I saw this handsome, young man. He had a big ass, and he taught me wrestling moves in the bed. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that did make me chuckle too.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure everybody knows when she met, chuckled and, when she said, show me wrestling moves in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, dude, I remember when I heard the news when the whole Chris Benoit situation. I was in shock. Like to hear that one of my favorite wrestlers was dead was just like mind-boggling to me. Like I just wanted to think it was fake, like it's just like some sick prank or something, but fortunately it wasn't. And I didn't hear about him actually killing the the son and wife until the next year. Because once I heard that he was dead, I did not want to hear anything else. So next year I find out online that he actually did kill son and wife. I was like, wow, Jesus Christ.
Dude, I wasn't even watching wrestling around the time that happened. I actually found out a year later. I had Backlash 2007 on DVD. I borrowed it from my older cousin, and
Yeah,
one
I
of the
love that.
matches on there was Chris Benoit versus MVP. And I'm like, well, who's this dude wrestling MVP? I never seen him. And then my older cousin is like, he's dead. I'm like, well, how did he die? He just said he's just dead. And it wasn't until years later I found out the full story of it, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like that's just shocking right there.
Yeah, and like once I started growing up, like once I started when I became a teenager, I've always just wanted to think, there was like some conspiracy theory, maybe he was murdered or something. Maybe it wasn't what we thought it was, but growing up now, I'm almost 20 now. And after watching that documentary, I can't it's real. It really happened. And it's just really hard. It's really hard to go through. And like what JR said, it hurts. The truth hurts, but it's true. They can never have Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame. You can't honor someone that murdered, someone. If it was just him committing suicide, it'd still be sad, but he would definitely still be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But since he actually, killed his family, all that is erased. don't even think about it because it's never gonna happen.
He can no longer be a part of Hall of Fame.
Oh, you can't be mentioned. You know, it's like if you're a huge Chris Benoit fan and you have the WWE Network and you just want to see all his matches, it's gonna be kind of hard. You know, you would really have to remember all the matches that he had. You have to remember a specific, show, pay per view that you saw a great Chris Benoit match. Since they don't mention him, it's kind of hard. Cause like I want to see like an old SmackDown match from him. But I can remember which one it was, what year it was. So yeah, that was kind of hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So like as Chris Benoit fan, it hurts. The truth hurts, but I gotta accept it. What happened, and
Yeah, and Vicky pretty much even said herself, saying that, if he was gonna, end his life, he should have just ended his life instead of, you've had your problems with your wife, but it doesn't that doesn't mean that she deserves to be killed. And definitely, most definitely, not the son.
yeah, the son did not need to die. Neither did the wife, but especially the son.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just really sucks, man. And like I said, David, he wants to be a wrestler. He wants to have his dad's wrestling style and attire. I support him. I hope he trains really well and does his best. He's got my support.
Yeah. So. Yeah, man. I was a little boy when both Eddie and Chris passed. I was in fourth grade with Eddie passed, and I believe I was in fifth grade when Benoit passed. And whenever Benoit passed, and I'm sure you guys, felt the same way, but I was just like, this can't be true. And even for years after that, I'm like, I'm not convinced Chris did what he did. I don't think he's a murderer. Like, I think there should have been somebody who had killed all three of them with a gun. I don't believe that Chris would do what he did. Because from like I said before, I mean, everybody spoke about Chris and they praised him. And Chris Jericho was like, you put 100 wrestlers in the line and say who would murder their family, Chris would be the last one on the list that Jericho would pick. But Remington has made a point off air when he said, "Who's this?"
Hello?
I don't know.
Vagina boob.
State your name and business, Mark.
Fucking your mom.
But Remington, you want to give your overall thoughts on the Chris Benoit documentary?
The first part of it was the first part of the video we did. I guess you're putting this together or something.
Yeah.
Just very unusual, very emotional roller coaster fucking ride of holy shit. And you actually got to know a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like the way he did it. It's just like Eddie Benoit fans out there, but the man is a piece of shit.
unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to believe it for the longest time, but
Yeah, me too.
it is what it is.
Pretty much. It is what it is. It's like, dude, if you're gonna, sorry to get some laugh track. If you're gonna strangle something, strangle your dick for the night. And get a jerk off. Get your aggressive out that way.
Yeah, and another thing, we were talking about how David Benoit, the son, does not deserve to get crapped on for what Chris Benoit did.
Yeah, we cover most of this in the first video.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing when it pertains to that video, I didn't watch it. I wanted to watch it to give my opinion on it, so I decided to just refresh it.
Oh,
So I pretty much went through the whole thing on this video.
oh, I just felt bad for old David. I don't know why they look at him real bad. He didn't fucking tell his dad to do that shit. He didn't do it, so. Why judge a kid for something that he didn't fucking do? And thanks, Vince, for not laying down a hand to help him. Thank you.
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. It's like, they didn't do anything to help him out.
You're so genuine, Vince. I mean, just like you helped out China. Yeah.
And Ashley.
Yeah, didn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh, he wants to help out his fucking favorites. I'm glad old racist Hogan can get a handout. Oh, he did his time, dude. Shut up. Hogan did his it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, he's innocent. Yet there's proof that what he said. But anyway.
Right. I guarantee if Roman Reigns or, did something, he would find, the best lawyer to help him out.
Roman could get caught with a prostitute tomorrow and shit cheating on his wife, and he'd still be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roman Reigns is going to be a topic for our next Asylum. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, because what happened today? We got announced today.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. So like only Chris Jericho and Chavo helped out David. So God bless them. But for WWE to pretend he never existed, to erase him for what his father did, yeah, you can go screw yourself.
Exactly. Jericho and Dean Malenko, Jericho, Chavo Guerrero, them motherfuckers did more for David than WB itself.
Yeah, they did.
It's like, damn, you're racing his dad. You're not erasing him. What the fuck did he do?
Right.
And I see that Jericho invited David to a show. So I guess that was in the AEW crowd.
Yeah, he was.
Now.
Yeah, he was. I think it was in Double or Nothing. He was there.
Ah.
Yeah. And David wants to be a wrestler.
Oh yeah, Vince ain't gonna let that fly. It's like that's his son because they're gonna say, well, because we gotta mention his dad, and it's just like we can't do that.
Right. Yeah. They would never have him in WWE. So
go to AEW.
No.
Yeah. Oh, and like I said, you know that you're gonna have some people talking crap about it. Saying, "Oh, you have the son of a murderer in your company, you freaking idiot."
Yeah, because he did that. He forced his dad to do that.
Right.
And you can guarantee there was people that were there. Oh yeah, Chris Jericho and Jim Ross, they work for AEW. Oh they're gonna use it against Vince, because they're not in the company. Yeah. Shut up.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that all the guys that were talking about.
You know them so well. Damn, you must work for them.
Yeah, I noticed that all the guys that were talking about Chris Benoit, they don't work for WWE no more. Vicky don't, Jim Ross don't, Chavo, Chris Jericho don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Dean Malenko don't. Yeah. Yeah.
On that note, I will say, I woke up this morning today, earlier yesterday, played my YouTube, and heard the dumbest thing. And this is a different subject, and I probably heard the dumbest thing to start off my morning. And then I quote, the dumbest thing I've heard today was, this WrestleMania has turned out to be one of the best WrestleManias ever.
What?
How?
like straight the fuck up. I watched, Cat Litter Man's video this morning, his review on AEW.
Wait, JD.
And
Well,
and fucking, he had a guest on there that was like a huge WWE fanatic, and that motherfucker spoke more about WWE than the AEW review.
Wow.
And I mean, just fucking you stop the bullshit, and you're like, oh, the production value is so great in WWE. They're about to give us the best WrestleMania of all time, huh?
of all time.
Of all time, it's gonna be the freaking.
What are you? Who are you? Who are you trying to get a job for when you say shit like that? Are you lying? You're lying to yourself,
dude?
It's gonna be in a little tiny performance center with no people.
How is it gonna be?
How is it supposed to be the best thing ever? There's only so much. There's only so much you can do in a fucking performance center building.
Right.
What was JD's reaction when
they can't put a pirate ship in a little fucking. They can't put a pirate ship in a little warehouse.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you expect? The best WrestleMania of all time. I bet you were hoping Vince would watch that and give you a job, right?
Oh, well, this guy knows what he's talking about. You're hired.
What was
that? Was the dumbest fucking thing That's the dumbest thing I've heard all day today. Best WrestleMania, looking to be the best WrestleMania. What the fuck are you smoking?
What was JD's reaction to it?
Probably what Art. He laughed.
Oh, well, apparently, he didn't have a bad reaction to it. He just like, well, I believe in different things and all that. And of course, everybody in the comment section said we don't want this guy back because he's a WB ass kisser. Oh, JD did not like their comments, and anybody that said they love the guy, JD loved their comment. And if you went against the guy, JD will come after you.
Fuck him.
Make up your fucking mind, Cat Litter Man. Make up your mind.
So wait. Hold up. So you mean to tell me that JD's fans, they were talking like, don't ever have him again because he's a WWE ass kisser, and JD didn't do anything?
No, he just stuck up for the guys. Like, oh, he's a big fan and everything. He was a good guest. It's an AEW review, not WWE.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, but you lost me the moment he said this is going to be the best WrestleMania at time. I exited the video when I heard that. I was like, well, that's enough internet for the day.
Nah, man, like that is not going to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
I had to log out that review. I was like, if you have to start a wrestling review of AEW saying that WrestleMania is the best of all time, I am not watching an hour of this review because all it's going to be is WWE nut hugging. I'm not watching that shit because you're lying to yourself. I don't give a fuck if they would have had a crowd or not. Best WrestleMania of all time.
Dude, the booking has been garbage. The booking has been garbage.
Oh, but because there's not going to be any fans there and there's going to be a performance center, they're going to give us more than what you think. There's not much you can do.
Not really, no.
Is the building going to transform into Optimus Prime?
Yeah, it's gonna be a freaking small arena with no crowd. It's looking to be like the worst WrestleMania ever.
I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're fucking smoking. You better get off that good shit, man. Hey, you better get off of it.
I'm in that cushion alcohol.
Oh hell no, he ain't on that shit.
Dude, I don't know what shit you're on to sit there and say this turned out to be the best WrestleMania of all time.
Whatever, no, fuck JD and fuck his guy. Fuck him, who cares? Yeah, that's just total shit. But
I've had enough of stupidity. I really have.
So, what's your Rem? How do you feel about people? How do you feel about people judging David Benoit for what for what Chris did?
Huh?
What's your thoughts on people judging David Benoit for what Chris Benoit did. You know,
Right,
like,
People are pieces of
It
shit.
did.
right.
Yeah.
People are just pieces of shit. That's all.
Yeah. Because he does not deserve that at all.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. People like to be assholes, and that's just how they like to do. They're fucking assholes.
And like I said, you know, if he goes to any wrestling company anywhere, because he wants to wrestle, he wants to be a wrestler, and he wants to have his, you know, dad style in his attire. You know, if we see him in wrestling, whether it's AEW or New Japan or whatever, you know you're gonna hear those fans, you know, talk crap about it. You're gonna hear it.
Mm.
Whether it's from the anti-smarks or whatever, you're gonna hear it.
Oh, he wants to emulate a murderer. No, he wants to emulate his father.
I say fuck him.
That's what he wants to do.
Yeah, like I don't care if you talk about vanilla midgets and stuff, but when if you're gonna talk about,
So I'm saying, man, just fuck people. That's just how it is. Fuck them. They want to be a fucking asshole, this kid? Then fuck them.
I mean, you gotta understand. At the end of the day, he was still his father. He wants to emulate his father.
exactly.
Yeah, he actually
Stop
lived
judging him
with
for what
him.
he didn't do. Yeah, man.
Look. It's messed up what Chris did, but at the end of the day, he was his father. And before he did what he did, from what I hear, he was a great father to him. So
yeah.
But to end this, I mean, you know, like I said before, you know, Chris Benoit, you know, he was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. If you take out the part with the murder, of course, if you take that part out, he still would be one of my favorites ever.
Definitely.
But he definitely disqualified himself from my favorites of all time. But beforehand, I was a fan of his. I enjoyed his matches. You know, he was one of the best ever.
Yes, he was.
Definitely.
And it's a shame that all had to be tormented, ruined, and destroyed because of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys have any final thoughts before we go off air?
No.
I wish David Benoit luck.
Yeah, I do wish you know, David Benoit, you know, the best going forward.
And God bless Chris Jericho and Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah, that's all you can really think like that. You know, it's just like because people just want to be pieces of shits. Let them be pieces of shit. Karma's a bitch.
Right.
Karma is a bitch.
All right, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. Which is kind of funny. Majority of the people that were talking, you know, their first exposure to wrestling was the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah.
How funny.
Yeah.
Majority of us are the young ones of the group. So
right. Yeah, the new age asylum.
Just for this video. But yeah, when we get to our normal, videos, it will be half and half. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation, and give your thoughts in the comment section. Peace.
Adios, amigos.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger.